We're live.
Hello, we will now call the regular meeting in order. It is now 7 o'clock. Requirements of the Sunshine Law have been met. They were advertised in the Burlington County Times on January the 7th, 2024. Electronic notice was given to the NJAC 5:39-1.5. We will now start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We will now have a moment of silence. Roll call.
Committeewoman Berkeley. Present. Committeeman Carr.
Present.
Committeewoman Mungo. Committeewoman Wright. Present. Mayor Henley.
Present.
Also present, Township Solicitor, Township Administrator Clerk, Assistant Administrator, Fire and Police Chiefs.
So now we'll have a presentation of a leaf vacuum truck. I think, what are you guys using this? You said that last year a resident said that he would like a touch a truck or something? Yeah. So,
We're going to kindly ask that the committee members and audience members take a step out the front door. We're going to have a short presentation about the leaf truck.
yep. Not. Huh? So one.
Go ahead. How are you doing?
So we shall continue. I'm going to present a proclamation for Ms. Maisha Hill for her courage. So the proclamation reads, whereas the West Hampton Township Police would like to recognize Ms. Maisha Hill for providing critical information which led to the arrest of an individual who was attempting to lure a juvenile. Whereas in a world where individuals often hesitate to get involved, Maisha's courage and determination to make a difference are truly praiseworthy. Whereas Maisha's actions have not only led to the apprehension of the individual who may have posed a threat to our community, but they have also sent a powerful message about the importance of collective responsibility. Whereas Maisha's dedication to the well-being of others sets a high standard for community involvement and intelligence for safeguarding our neighborhoods. Whereas Maisha Hill is hereby recognized for her cooperation with multiple law enforcement agencies. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that I, Sandy Henley, Mayor of West Hampton Township, on behalf of the Township Committee and the citizens of West Hampton, honor and celebrate Maisha Hill for her exceptional commitment to the safety and security of West Hampton Township. Thank you, Ms. Hill. Black one would have been nice. Black one. Black one's got nice.
Mayor, if I could just speak briefly.
Sure.
So this was an investigation, it was about a year ago now?
Yes.
Okay, about a year ago, Detective Redfield was contacted, and this subject was traveling from Florida, working at our academy bus as a traveling employee, and he made some alarming statements to Ms. Hill, who was working at the Comfort Inn front desk, about possibly trying to meet a child for inappropriate conduct. So right away, we got involved in the investigation. We recorded some information from him. He was eventually taken into custody. He has been sentenced, I believe, just in the last few weeks.
Wow.
They did find him guilty. He's going to be a registered sex offender for the rest of his life, and hopefully out of our state and back to where he lived in Florida. So,
Thank you.
Thanks, sir. Normally people really don't want to get involved sometimes, or they may call 911. They say, "I'll let the police handle it." But Ms. Hill was involved in the investigation from the beginning all the way to the end, and I know Detective Redfield wanted her recognized for her job well done. Come up behind.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much. That's
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Approval of minutes, April 2nd, 2024, regular meeting minutes. Do we have a motion?
Mayor, I would like to make a motion to table these, and I'll tell you why. The minutes are a legal document. There's some things here that are not right. For example, we did not have a 6 p.m. Budget workshop meeting at the last meeting, so that's written in the minutes, unless you had one and I didn't know about it. On another page, it says, Ms. Berkeley stated she emailed the administrator about suggestions for personnel, specifically in the administration and court departments. I never, ever emailed the administrator about these two people. And then Mayor Henley, you continued with talking about we can't fire people, which insinuated that I wanted people fired. And that is not true. That is far from the truth. And the last thing, we talked about the how much it costs for the truck for the fire department, and we were talking about interest. I calculated the interest over 5 years, what the total number of interest would be over the 5 years, not per year. Mr. Wright, our attorney, figured the interest per year, so we came up with two different numbers. I came up with 20-something, he came up with 5-something. And so it says Solicitor Bob Wright confirmed that Ms. Berkeley's math was incorrect. My math was not incorrect. We were talking about two different things. And it is quite of an insult to have in the minutes that I did something incorrectly when I did not. And so I would like to send this back and have these things fixed. Thank you.
So, one quick question.
The question is, will we table it?
Can we adjust the 6 p.m. part? Like, do we have to table it to adjust the time?
The minutes upon adoption can just, you can delete that portion of the minutes that has the 6 p.m. budget workshop reference if that was incorrect, and they can be adopted as amended.
So we can correct that. I mean, whatever the committee wants. I'm one person.
Make a motion to amend to strike the 6 p.m. workshop.
You'd have to vote down to table it first.
She's correct, Mayor. There's pending motion to table the minutes. There needs to be a second.
But if we don't motion to table it, then we don't have to table it.
Correct.
Right.
And we
If
can just,
there's no second, then the motion to table fails.
Right.
And you go on with whatever the next
but
motion.
we can make a motion to strike the 6.
After
The table doesn't,
after
that's
the
right.
table.
Do we have a motion to strike the 6 p.m. time from the minutes?
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call.
Berkeley?
No.
Carr? Yes. Longo?
Abstain.
Wright?
Yes.
Mayor Henley?
Yes.
Motion carries 3-1-1.
April 2nd, 2024, executive session minutes. Do we have a motion?
That's. Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Berkeley?
Yes?
Carr? Longo?
Abstain.
Wright?
Yes.
Mayor Henley?
Yes.
Motion carries 401.
Department reports of the court, tax collector, construction, fire, EMS, public works, and police. We will now open the meeting for public comment on agenda items only. Please remember to state your name and address for the record. Remember, this portion is for comment only.
Hi, good evening. John Mumbauer, 29 Lancaster Drive, West Hampton. This is in reference to the bond ordinance, one for the truck and also for the, I think the same one's for the trash cans, for the $200,000 trash cans. First with the trash cans, I know it's not a lot of money, $200,000 doesn't seem like a lot, when you look at a huge township budget, et cetera. But my concern with these cans are, you get one can, and everything's got to fit into that. And if you drive around this township, you got people from all different, aspects of their life. They got small children or seniors or whatever, different things going on. There's going to be a lot of things that are not going to be able to fit into that trash can. And that's my concern, is that what's going to happen now? If you can't fit it into that trash can, or even if you can, if it seems to be oversized, say if you got a carpet, you got to cut it up or something like that, put it in there, you can't fit anything else in it, or they're going to take the trash away. So that's not so much the price of it, but I think it's going to limit, the residents as far as what they can put out. That's my concern. And then I guess going back to the truck, being outside, I understand it's going to be over $500,000 to include the leaf vacuum to go with it. And I understand that equipment degrades, I can see the corrosion on the other truck, et cetera. But one thing, that combined with everything else that's rolled into this over $1 million bond, I think about, right now, we're sitting already on a 6% property tax increase.
6 cents, not 6%.
I'm sorry.
No, just wanted to make sure.
Okay,
You know how-
okay, so 6, all right. And I know that the local school budget's going up. We haven't even heard anything from the county. We haven't heard anything from the high school, the regional high school.
County's not going up.
Okay, well, that's good then. But that was my concern, as far as the money for the bond. And I know, as citizens, as residents, we're all trying, hey, I would love to have another vehicle, but I'm driving around in a 15-year-old vehicle, So, I just think that whether this bond passes or not, that, those who are empowered, to make these financial decisions really stop and think about the residents and think about, what we go through on a daily basis, just trying to make ends meet, and how we can't afford to get some things that we need. And I understand these things are for a service to the residents. I get that. But if there's a way that, whether it's this bond or future financial considerations, that we really consider the residents and say to ourselves, can they afford it? So, thank you.
Can you hang around the end and I'll answer your question about the trash cans? Thank you.
You're welcome.
Dr. Ashley Caldwell, 1109 Lambert Drive. Thanks for the show and tell about the truck, because it really helped me to understand what we're going to be purchasing, and also showing the current truck. My only question is about 11B. You mentioned there was going to be like an attachment on the truck, and I just want to know if we already have that, or if we still have to purchase that in addition to the truck. That's my only question.
Fair question.
Mayor, can I just say something real quick?
Sure.
So just for everybody's information, the ordinances that are being introduced tonight are on first reading. In order for them to be adopted at the next meeting, there'll be a public hearing. During the public hearing, there'll be presentation, depending on the comments, on the more substantively. That'll be part of the permanent record as far as the adoption. You are free to make any comments tonight on the ordinance as it's being introduced. But there will be another hearing. It's not going to be finally adopted today.
Appreciate that clarification. Chris Hamilton, 16 St. Andrews Court. I have concerns about the truck too. I understand that there is a need for it, but I would like to know the decision-making process. My concern more is the trash can thing. I hope we're not committing to the company that's doing our trash right now, because, okay, thank you. Thank you for that.
That's why we're getting the trash cans.
Okay.
But I'll explain later. But
Okay.
continue.
And there have been towns around us that have gotten this trash can. We're looking at spending $200,000 on a trash can process, I guess is what it is. It seems to have been a miserable failure in other towns. And just as Mr. Mumbauer said, there are people that don't want to have one trash can. And when we're looking at a tax increase and adding a lot of money to our debt, I just think that maybe we should reconsider what we're doing. Could it be something we do down the road? Maybe. But because of our debt and our tax increase, maybe this is something that we can take on in another year. Thank you.
David Fisher, 227 Main Street. Trash is this bond for the trash stuff. I know people that are in Evesham, I know people in Marlton, and they hate it. They really do, because they can't put out other trash that they need to put out that they've generated from their house. And it doesn't matter. I have a family of 6, okay? When my kids were young, we've had 2, 3, 4 cans out there at different times because we generated that much trash, and it's just household trash. Home project had to occur. What am I going to do? Do I run it up to the dump all the time? I have trucks, I can do that, okay? Well, our residents can't. Either they're older and they can't, they might hire a contractor, but that's the contractor's responsibility, I get that. But if a family member's doing it for them, they're going to put it out at the curb. They're not going to run it up to the dump because they just aren't going to know unless somebody tells them. That's what's going to make it difficult. I'll need 2 trash cans at minimum for my house because I know, my kids are getting older, but I'm still going to need them. So that's where I'm at, but it's not worth it. You know, if you guys, I know sometimes the schedule gets messed up with waste management. I get it. I've seen waste management too, but better than not having only limited to 1 or 2 cans. So I can put out as much trash as I need to, and they take it. It's done. So I'd rather not have the bond ordinance for trash cans, new ones. It's not worth it to me. Thank you.
Alan Forsyth, 17 Sealy Drive, and much like everyone else, I'm here to talk about the trash can situation. Family of 5, we do generate a lot of trash, especially around birthdays, Christmas, things like that. 1 trash can really isn't enough for us to come out just once a week for that. And honestly, like, one of the selling points, like, people ask me, because like I'll sell real estate, sell houses, and then I'll talk about West Hampton's trash, they'll say, how is the trash can? I'll say I'll literally throw out the toilet and they'll pick it up. With this new system, I don't have that luxury if I want to replace or do some home repairs around my house. The other thing that I wanted to talk about was the new leaf truck. I do recognize that the other one is old and is definitely probably could use replacing, but are there more needs for that $560,000 that could be addressed? I know, like the police vehicles I saw in the bond, that there's 2 of them, I believe, that are getting replaced. Are there more that need to be replaced that money can go towards? And my other question was, the current bond, when does that one expire?
So we can answer questions at the end.
Okay.
It's just
Yeah, that's no problem, that's no problem. This is my first time speaking out now. All right, no problem.
It's not that we don't care, we do care.
Yeah, no, that's okay. That's right.
I used to answer questions and people were kicking me underneath the... We have any other comments? With that being said, motion to close public comment.
So moved. Second.
Ordinance, first reading, ordinance by the Township Committee amending the West Hampton Code of Ordinance to repeat the ordinance 13-2017, to adopt a new ordinance of 3-2024, to adopt flood hazard maps, to designate a flood plan administrator, and providing for severability and an effective date. Do we have a motion?
Berkeley, move.
Second?
Any discussion?
Yes, this is excellent. My concern is, it seems like our construction official is going to be the administrator, and I just see that a lot of extra work. I don't know how we could have him do that with what he does now, unless we could get someone else to help him. Going along with that, our ordinances require that we have an environmental committee, and this is all environmental. And I think the environmental committee could be a big help to the land development board when they have projects and they say, look, we've looked into this warehouse is going to cause a lot of flooding. I know that there are people in, I think it's Rolling Hills, who their backyards already flood because some of the warehouses have drainage into their yards. And I think this could prevent it, and this is great. Do we have a way of telling the residents who is in the floodplain? So we say to them, Mr. and Mrs. Smith on so-and-so Boulevard, your property is in the floodplain, so you are able to get special insurance. Are we going to contact the residents who are in the floodplain?
You're asking the question?
Yeah.
Well, their insurance, when you end up in a flood zone, your insurance company or your mortgage company, your insurance company is going to contact you once the flood zone is updated, because they want to have insurance for that property. And if you've ever had flood insurance, it is amazingly expensive, so they'll make sure that they collect that.
So I guess my question, are we updating the flood areas?
That's what this is here.
Okay.
Yeah.
I do suggest that we open up the environmental committee to help support this. I know there are people that are interested in it. Thank you.
No worries. Roll call.
Berkeley?
Yes?
Carr?
Yes.
Longo?
Yes.
Wright?
Yes.
Mayor Henley?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
7-2024, bond ordinance authorizing the acquisition of various capital equipment and completion of various capital improvements in and for the Township of West Hampton, County of Burlington, New Jersey, appropriating the sum of $1,094,134, therefore authorizing the issuance of a general obligation bonds and bond anticipation notes of the Township of West Hampton, County of Burlington, New Jersey, and the aggregate principal amount of up to $1,039,427, making certain determinations and covenants, and authorizing certain related actions in connection with the foregoing. Do we have a motion?
Second.
Discussion. So, I do have a discussion. Like, just so everyone knows, this is the introduction. This isn't the final part of it, and there will be more discussion about the leaf truck. I think that one of the things, to be fair, Chris, our department head for Public Works, wanted everyone to see, the difference of, what we have currently and what those people work with. So what I would say is this, right? And what I would say is this: everyone here works somewhere, right? I mean, if you didn't have the equipment to perform the job that you needed to perform at work, how would you fare at your job? I'm not saying that we need the $560,000 truck. I'm saying that that's some of the things that the committee members have to think about when they're making a vote, when they're up here, right? So the cost is what the cost of the truck is. If you go buy a new car, that's, you can negotiate probably $2,000 or $3,000, but the cost is the cost, right? We have 1 million calls about picking up leaves, believe it or not, when it's fall. And we have 1 million calls about doing some of the other things that truck can do. I think that when Chris made his presentation, one of the things he was saying is, and you got to remember that we're also a small township, that right now you may have 2 or 3 people who have to be on the one truck versus having one person or a second person that can do that job by themselves, and you can designate that other person to do something else. So it's also about utilizing the manpower, and how much money is that going to take, right? If you have someone who has a salary of X, Y, Z amount of dollars, but you have them sitting on the truck instead of, I mean, there's a million things. The American Legion building down there was getting water in it that had to wait, right, until somebody could get there. Or when we helped the schools get the rink down, there was 2 or 3 guys out there doing that. So there's as many guys taking down that rink as there was riding on that truck. So just these are the things that we have to think about. Again, tonight we're just voting on introducing it. So I don't want, anyone to think that it's a done deal, but it is something that deserves, a little bit more conversation. So I appreciate your comments. Anyone else with any other discussion?
Yes, obviously, the new truck is twice the size of the old truck, and the old truck does look old. I agree with that. The question is, do we need to replace it with something twice as big and twice as expensive? Or, if we've been using the old truck, we also just bought a $250,000 dump truck last year, which can do some of those things like dumping things and carrying branches and cutting down trees. Do we need something this big? And you talk about it only needs one person. I would never want one public worker to be on that huge monster by themselves.
Sandy Henley said 2 people.
What?
Sandy Henley said 2
Yeah,
people.
but Chris originally said it only needed one person.
Direct that.
And I would think, but you really wouldn't want one person there alone in case there's problems or someone got hurt. So you're going from 3 maybe to 2. I just think that we could look for something that is maybe a little bit bigger than the old one, not $560,000. And I think I've heard from a lot of other people about the trash cans. They're not thrilled about it. They do not want it because...
Oh, the trash cans are on here.
Not enough.
Can I talk about the trash cans now? I didn't even cut you off. Go ahead, you finish.
I mean, that's my theory. But the other thing is, it seems every year we take out more bonds than we pay off. This coming year, our budget says we're going to pay off about $800,000 in bonds, and we're taking over $1 million in bonds, and it keeps getting bigger and bigger. Our budget's going to be about $14,000, and our debt's going to be $7,000. If you made $80,000 in your job, would you want a credit card that has $40,000 due on it? You're spending so much on interest. We're spending $235,000 on interest. We could pay for 2 policemen with that. It just seems like, what are we really doing that we need, or is it a Christmas list, or we're doing what we need for everyone? And I just have problems with that. Thank you.
No worries. So, real quick, our township debt in comparison to what a township debt should be, if I'm not mistaken, is extremely low. Is that not accurate?
That is accurate.
What's our township debt is what in comparison? Like, I know that we talked about this before, and there's a range of where townships carry a debt, and to be fair, Nancy, no one buys a house in cash. Very few people buy cars in cash. So there are people who work every day who do carry some form of debt because it's necessary. Now, I'm not saying that this is necessary. I'm only giving that 2 cents. Now, about the trash cans, let me talk about this now. So, we had an uproar because trash went up by, I don't know, something crazy like 70%, right? So we were paying $3.7 million, if I'm not mistaken, between $3.5, $3.7 million for trash collection, which at some point was, a little closer to $2 million. We only had 2 bids. One was 3.5, one was 3.7, something like that. Don't hold me to the numbers. It was, a couple years ago. I look a little younger than I am, so just bear with me. But what I'm saying is that even though these other towns don't like it, they get more opportunity because they have more people bidding. Because a lot of trash collectors now want to send out one person on one truck, use the same machine he's talking about, pick up the one trash can, and dump it into the trash. So maybe it's not the same people who are here that was complaining, but a lot of the people who were complaining were also complaining about the $3.7 million and the fact that they're not in love with the trash company. I understand that there's some people who are okay with the trash company, but they literally get calls about the trash at least bi-weekly, how they hate that company, right? But we only had two options because most townships are going to this platform. So we went to the platform we were talking about going to the platform to increase our options when our contract is up to get us better trash services than the trash services that we have now. Now, also, I do agree if you have a carpet or you do home improvements, but we still have bulk trash pickup now. So you would still have bulk trash pickup. They have a schedule for bulk pickup. You enter into that schedule. I think it's every other week. They do bulk pickup, and they come around and they pick up the bulk outside of the trash cans. And my understanding is that the trash cans are twice the size of one can. Now, Mr. Fisher, I agree. I know other townships that don't like, there are other residents in other towns that don't like the one trash can. I'm not saying I don't agree with that. But they also probably don't realize that they had way more options of who to pick to get their trash than we have. We don't have the options. We only have the 3.7 or the 3.5, and it just seems like either one of those companies weren't great companies because we get complaints about them all the time. So we're just looking at a way to increase our options to have better trash production, better trash people come and get our trash. That's really what it's all about. Anybody have any other discussion? Roll call.
Berkeley?
No?
Carr? Mungo? Yes. Wright?
Yes.
Mayor Henley?
Yes.
Motion carries 4-1-0.
An ordinance amending Chapter 82 of the West Hampton Township Code entitled Alcoholic Beverages. Do we have a motion?
Make a motion to amend chapter 82 of the code.
Second.
Any discussion?
Mayor, how did this come about? I was shocked to see this on Friday.
My understanding is, if I may, that they looked at having some different things in the community that our residents ask for, and some of the local businesses can serve like beer or something like that. So that's my understanding of what it's about. Like if we have like any festivals, if we have any food truck events, different events that we can elect to incorporate that.
So we wouldn't be providing the alcohol?
No. We're not bootleggers. Can't provide alcohol.
Would we still need to get an alcohol permit from the state?
Huh? By bootlegging? We'll talk afterwards. But,
Who, would we have liability if someone got drunk and ran over someone with their car?
I don't think the idea is for someone to come and get drunk. I think that one of the things that we'd have to put in place is to be able to monitor if someone does that. So I'll give you a perfect example. In Cinnaminson, they have a carnival every year held at a church. And at that church, they have a beer garden at the church. So I don't think that people walk out every year, under the influence or heavily under the influence. They have a way to police that at the church. So I'm sure that us at West Hampton Township, with the fine police officers we have, that we'll police that. But it's, again, it's about, you have a bunch of towns that hold these festivals, and they have options to be able to do things that we don't have options to do. So at some point, and people have complained about this, like you're going to have second-rate things that are happening because we handcuff everybody on what they can do. So
Would we need more police to work those events?
you'd have to ask our fine chief over there. You actually, of course you can speak.
I've already been in discussion with the neighboring police chiefs. My neighbor Cookie lives in the police chief in Lumberton. I already spoke to him about the ordinance, spoke to the township administrator, same ordinance we have. It's now the heavy lift for the police department involved. A lot of these events don't attract thousands of people like the carnivals and
I've been there many times.
these are very low-key, sometimes events, people aren't coming there to get out of the box or anything like that. They're there to purchase food, maybe one or two beverages from the beer garden. We would provide outside security. We can't be directly involved with the police because with alcohol sales, they would hire their own people to check out the whoever the license goes.
Some of the things too, I was looking at the handbook last night, because we had said something about parks in here. And New Jersey said you can only have beer and wine in parks, and you can't have it on the street. So if we were to have a food truck, like we had it there in Torrancefield on the street, we couldn't have alcohol because people would be walking on the street. And I'd be interested to see if parking lots would be under that same thing as streets.
I mean, what I would think is, and this is just off the top of my head, like BCIT is a nice location, that the same place we have our National Night Out, right? Like, we could have something there.
Like I said, I don't know what their parking.
Yeah, we can't, we're not gonna
And BCIT.
move beer on the street. You can't do that. Like, I mean, obviously, we're not gonna, and I haven't been as involved, it's not really my project, but I would assume that the chief is looking this up, he's gonna make sure that we don't have, beer on the street. I don't think that we're that type of community, but we are a type of community that have asked to do things as a community.
Right.
And when we do those things, a lot of people do come out and support. So it's an opportunity for us to get back to all knowing each other and being amongst each other, doing different things. Hey, if you don't want a beer, don't drink it, because it will cost. They're not giving it away for free. And, if there's other things there that you like to do, then you're able to do that. And people get an opportunity to meet you, and people get an opportunity to talk to everyone and engage. And I think that that's something that we've talked about doing for a long time. We've talked about West Hampton Days. We've talked about a bunch of different things to kind of get back to bringing the community out. So I think that this is a step in the right direction. Roll call?
Berkeley?
Yes.
Carr?
Yes.
Mungo?
Yes.
Wright?
Yes.
Mayor Henley?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Ordinance 6-2024, calendar year 2024 ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limit and to establish a cap bank. Do we have a motion?
Berkeley move. Second.
It is open for a public hearing. Anyone have anything? So I will say something. I know that we've talked, well, Nancy, I know you sent the email, right, about in order to reduce, right, the 6.7 cents increase, which is about $120 to $150 average for the year, not for the quarter, for the year. Maybe looking at everyone cutting back 5% against their budget. So, first, before I go, have you followed up on any of those things? Like, have you talked to anyone?
I was curious about the school because they had a $25 million bond 2 years ago. And their increase is 2%, but their pennies is 0.8 cents increase on their budget, which is about $12 a year.
I'm talking about the 5%.
I know, but I'm saying they're working through the same difficult problem.
Oh, absolutely. It's a West Hampton issue. It's not. So what I'm asking is, have you talked to any of the department heads about it?
No.
Because I don't want to be redundant. Okay. So I'm glad there are people here. So what I did was I did talk to a few of our department heads, right? I talked to our fire department. If they cut back 5%, they won't be able to have any per diem, right? So this is what we want to consider, like when we're talking about the taxes going up 6.5%. They won't have any per diem. What does that mean? Per diem means if somebody calls out the fire department, they won't be able to call anybody in. That's them cutting back 5%. I talked to the police department. It's likely they want to hire an additional police officer at the end of the year. It's likely that could affect that. That's 5%. I talked to our administration. We'd have to lay off someone if we cut back 5%. So why I'm saying this is that I know that we see the truck outside. I know we're talking trash cans, right? But that's a bond. We're bonding for that. But when we're talking about the budget, 85% of the budget is salaries of the approximately 100 people who work here. That's 85% of it. If we start cutting areas, then residents will go without. which is, I mean, it's up to whatever, the committee has. But I will share this, if I may, because the chief actually was able to walk me through this. So I live in Spring Meadows. And there were some kids playing out, and I rode by, and there's some other kids out there smoking. And I thought, about what we say, like, well, it's always somebody else's problem, right? So I called the chief, and I'm like, I really think it's overkill to have a police officer come out there, like, and I don't want to waste them being somewhere else. And he's like, well, say something to him. Like, just talk to him. If it gets out of hand, then, then we'll handle it another way. So I made a U-turn, came, pulled into the park, got out the car. You don't even know the rest of the story because I didn't call you back. Like, you see me here, so I'm unharmed. So, I talked to the guys. I said, listen, I mean, we were all kids. I'm not gonna, I'm not here to judge, but here's the thing. Like, you got little kids over there on the swing. Like, I said, I just, do what you're gonna do as long as you don't hurt other people, but I think that this isn't really the right place to do it. And I told him, I said, and you can say to yourself, oh man, this is none of your business, but I'm the mayor of the town, so it is my business. And I said, I'm not gonna call the police. I'm not going to do any of those things, but I need you to police yourself. Like, if that was your little sister over there, or if that was your little cousin, like, would you want to be out here, people smoking? And they didn't say anything. They were like, all right, we heard you, and they packed up and left. Well, I say that to say when we're talking about cutting back 5%, and we're talking about losing a police officer, and we're talking about losing, these are general things that are about general safety, and we're talking about $150 a year. Like, unless, and I've said this a million times, unless we build or unless we do something else to bring in some other type of income, then you're always going to be in this position. Because the chiefs are always going to get raises. Every year they're going to get a raise, just like all of us here. Their staffs are going to get raises every year. Not because we're giving them, a lot of them are contractual. So they have a contract that they get a raise of a certain point every year. And if 85% of your budget is salary, then that number increases if you don't have a tax increase or if you don't bring in more revenue. Now, we have a new housing development over there that's going to bring in a revenue of approximately $400,000 next year. That will help, but that's kicking the can down the road if we don't continue to do something, right? We have to continue to have some type of revenue coming in, or we're always going to be looking at an increase. Now, if you take a look at our taxes and compare it to local towns, I mean, we still stand really strong. I know people who live in townhouses and their taxes are $3,000 a year more than mine. So we do have a lot on what we currently manage and what we currently paid for, and our budget has been really responsible. But understanding, like just speaking in layman's terms, if you know that 85% of the budget is salary, right? Then this is a situation. We just tried to hire a CFO for a part-time CFO, right? We've done shared service. We've done a bunch of things to responsibly make sure we're handling our budget. And there are some people that are like, well, why are we doing shared service? We need to hire somebody full-time. Understand, then we're going to pay for that person, right? You're not only paying for them full-time, but you're going to pay for them in the pension system. You're going to pay for their health care. You're going to pay for everything that comes along with that. When we're talking about shared service, remember, we're taking a flat fee. We're not paying for health care. We're not paying for the pension. We're not paying for any of those things. When we hire a part-time CFO, but CFOs are, what, the running rate's $100,000 to $150,000? We are going to hire a part-time CFO for way less than half of that. So we are attempting to be extremely responsible with the finances, but some of it is uncontrollable. So, I mean, obviously you guys can look up a lot of what I'm saying, but it's just some food for thought. Do you have anything to add, Nancy?
Yes, I just want to put on the record that I have absolute confidence in the police and the fire department. Actually, before the last meeting, I did call them and ask them about things that had increased, and most of those that had increased are because the people that service them had increased what they charge. And I didn't see anything that I thought was overspending. And I thought they did a great job trying to keep it down and still work and meet the needs. I'm not being shy, and I'm not being honest about that, but I think that we could cut Public Works by 5% without any problem.
So if we cut Public Works by 5%, I don't believe that doesn't cut it by a cent. That doesn't reduce it by a cent, right? I think that's putting a Band-Aid on a bullet hole. That's just bad, right? I would say this fairly, and you know I always say this to you, Nance. I have no problem doing whatever we need to do. If we bring up a problem, then we need to have a solution, right? And all I'm searching for is if we're going to cut everybody by 5%, or whoever we're going to cut by 5%, we're obviously saying that the residents don't need it, so we're not going to do it, right? Then what is the solution? It can't be if we just do this, then we'll do that. Like, what's the solution? And by no means, I'm just asking a question. Like, what's the solution? What should we do?
Told you, I think Public Works can be cut 5%.
Where'd he go? Oh, he's moving the truck. So if we cut Public Works by 5%, how much is that approximately? What's the Public Works budget? And what are we cutting and what are we missing? What will the residents go without if we cut Public Works by 5%? Now, the leaf truck is a bond. It has nothing to do with that.
I'll give you an example.
Mayor, this is not open for comment. If anybody in the public wants to make a comment, they should come to the...
In the bills we're approving tonight, one of the things we're approving is a lot of money for something that will balance wheels. We bought one 2 years ago. Why do we need another one now?
How much is a lot?
$600 or $700, I forget what I don't have it in front of me. But why do we,
I mean, it's a $13 million budget.
There's
That's all I was trying to say. Like, man, and you listen again. I'll go with you if it's worth going, and I've done that before.
Okay.
I'll go with you. But $600 or $700 on a $13 million budget, even if you go $600 or $700 a week on a $13 million budget, is a drop in the bucket. Like, we need to figure out a way either to bring more money into this township, or then you have to reduce staff. There's no other way around it if the staff is 85% of the budget.
I was just giving one example, Mayor.
Sure. Oh, no, I thought you were, I'm sorry, but I appreciate it. You want to ask him? He's back.
No.
I'll ask him. Chris,
Talk to him later.
if you cut 5% of your budget, what are we going to go without? Manpower. 85% of our budget are people who work here. With that being said,
So, Mayor,
Yes.
before this goes to a vote, normally the cap bank ordinance is handled with the budget, and all the advertisements for it go out at the same time. So I would ask that the committee table this and have a public hearing, continue the public hearing and a final vote on the cap bank ordinance simultaneous with the approval of the budget.
I don't have an issue with that. You want to have an issue with tabling it?
That's fine.
Okay.
Motion to table.
I see nothing wrong with passing it. That doesn't mean we have to go up.
You did a motion to table, I second.
Okay?
Roll call.
Barclay?
Yes?
Carr?
Yes.
Mungo?
Yes.
Wright?
Yes.
Mayor Henley?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
63-24, payment of vouchers. This resolution approves the payment of bills through 4/16/2024. Do we have a motion?
Berkeley move?
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Barclay?
Yes?
Carr?
Yes.
Mungo?
Yes.
Wright?
Yes.
Mayor Henley?
64-24.
Mayor Henley?
What? Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
64-24, resolution authorizing the 2024 municipal budget to be read by title only. Do you have a motion?
Motion. Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, Mayor, this says that when we have our hearing, we're only going to read the budget by title only. Usually when we do that in ordinances, that means the public doesn't get any information because it's just reading. Are we saying that we are agreeing that when we have the hearing, we're not going to give a budget overview to the people? We're just going to have a budget title and vote and listen to what they have to say? I think, I don't understand this.
Ms. Berkeley, what it means to read by budget title only is that we're not reading the 95-page budget page by page to the audience. It's a resolution that allows us to just read the title of the budget so that we don't have to go page by page. It has nothing to do with the ordinance. It has nothing to, it's the actual municipal budget document.
I'm just comparing it to when we have ordinances, we read them by title only. So are we planning on giving information to the people when we have a hearing, or just say, here's the title and we're voting on it in May?
So, Ms. Berkeley, as a condition of adopting this ordinance, generally speaking, the state law requires the budget to be read in its entirety. The exception to that is if the governing body passes this ordinance, allowing it to be read by title only, and that the committee certifies that certain conditions have been met, including making the budget publicly available at least 1 week in advance of the public hearing on the adoption of the budget. So the budget has been made available in the clerk's office for anyone to see. Anybody who has requested a copy of the budget has been provided a budget at this time, which is more than 2 weeks before the final adoption of the budget.
The adoption's in May, correct?
It's the first meeting in May.
May 7th.
Yeah, I don't know. It's maybe 3 weeks?
Okay, well, I had a question about that, about at least 1 week prior to the date of the hearing, because I believe that once we introduce it, it has to be available to the public, correct?
That's not correct.
I just read that last night.
Maybe I'm mistaken. What's required to have it read by title only is that it's available to the public for inspection in the clerk's office and provided to anyone at least 1 week prior to the public hearing.
But after the last meeting, we introduced it, right?
Yes, and I believe that the clerk made it publicly available shortly thereafter.
So that
So it has-
someone opens it, they can get the budget.
If
correct?
somebody walks into the clerk's office and asks for it, submits a letter, an email, they can get a copy of it.
Okay, thank you, just wanted to check that out.
Roll call?
Berkeley?
Yes?
Carr?
Yes.
Mungo?
Yes.
Wright?
Yes.
Mayor Henley?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
65-24, resolution authorizing the local examination of the 2024 municipal budget. Motion?
Make a motion to authorize the local examination of the budget.
Second.
Any discussion?
The way this reads, it looks like we're approving the budget.
We can't approve, we wouldn't approve the budget.
The amounts have been, we've approved, the amounts have been calculated, we approved that it's all ordinances, items, appropriations are proper. I mean, it seems like we are approving everything in the budget. Is that not correct, Bob?
Sorry, I had to pull out the glasses. This isn't adopting the budget, obviously, because a public hearing on the budget is required, and there's been no public hearing. This is authorizing that the process has been followed properly. And it really just that the process has been followed properly. The business administrator has worked on the preparation of the budget with our auditors and has represented to the committee that everything has been followed with the introduction of the budget.
So it's not saying I agree the items of appropriation are proper,
No, not the individual.
but that's what it says here
Where does it say that?
on B, on 4B.
Also, it allows us to internally examine the budget rather than having to send it to the state and wait for the state's examination for them to approve it for us. So once every 3 years, we go through a cycle where the state tells us that we mandatorily have to send them our budget for examination, and it holds up the process a little bit longer. This resolution, which is passed across many municipalities, allows the municipality to examine their own budget and certify that we are following all of the budgetary rules and regulations as per the state of New Jersey so that we can pass it on a more timely fashion.
Thank you.
Roll call?
Berkeley?
No?
Carr?
Yes.
Mungo?
Yes.
Wright?
Yes.
Mayor Henley?
Yes.
Motion carries 4-1-0.
Resolution for a member participation in the cooperative pricing system to enter into a cooperative pricing agreement. Motion.
Motion to enter the co-op.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Berkeley? Yes. Carr?
Yes.
Mungo?
Yes.
Wright?
Yes.
Mayor Henley?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Now open the meeting for public comment. Please remember to state your name and address. For the record, remember this is for comment only. It's not question and answer.
Mayor, where is this in our
Agenda.
Hold on, this is for public comment. Give me a second. Hold up. Well, they gotta have you on the record, like to record you.
682 Woodland Road. I just want to make a statement. You know, and this is easy talk. I'm always saying, I can give you a little boost. People don't understand today how the world is. See, corporate greed is what got this country tied down. I got my 18 wheelers, I got 2 of them. Let me tell you something. You know how much a tire costs a little bit now? $800 a piece. When I started, $250. That was 50 years ago. What I'm making is, I hear people complain all the time about, like, you have to make a decision. And I'm not here to, say that I'm on the side. I'm just making a point. Most people I talk to today, they don't understand. They think that, if the prices keep going up, they want to blame this guy. So they want to blame that guy. Corporate greed is who you need to go blame. You go out there and buy that new truck all you want. When something goes wrong with it, watch what you think. Even the old truck you have. I want to say this to you. Those who know me for a long time, my other truck is down there sitting in the yard, old when I had it. I first moved here 50 years ago. Me and my wife was going to, she had passed away 2 years ago. We were going to restore that truck. How much was going to cost me to do that? But I was going to do it because that truck got me everything I had. $150,000, $60,000. A new 18-wheeler today, you're talking $200,000. That's what it's worth. People don't understand. It's not that you're trying to look for the law. You have to go somewhere and get what you have to get for this township. And you go back. Everybody pays today. They ain't no getting around, and they ain't going back. A case of water, when I started, was $21 a case. $90 now. I mean, it just don't stop. It just keeps on going and going. And I don't know, I just sit back now and watch it. I got old, I ain't gonna be going to much longer. But it's sad when I sit and listen to people talk about the cost of things, and really it's not the township that's causing you to buy. What you don't realize is the township is the middleman. You gotta go to some ways to get stuff to make the township work. And today, brother, it ain't, listen, it ain't what people think. I have people complain about groceries in the store. That ain't no politician's fault. Corporate greed. Ever since the virus came. And now the virus is gone. Prices went up during the virus. Corporate greed did that. The virus is gone now, and they still ain't going like that. And guess what? They ain't going. I just sit here listening because it affects me every day. Every day. And people talk about the stores. You know what it costs? Those 18-wheelers, they don't get the 5 miles per gallon. Diesel bill keeps going up, so we got to turn around and charge you. At the store, people complain. So what am I supposed to do? I'm going to talk all that. I'm just saying to you, it ain't my fault. It's what we're reading. And it's going to keep going like that until some kind of regulations passed in this country to stop it. But I don't know when it's coming. I don't know. Everybody's getting hot about it. That's the way it is.
Thank you.
don't blame you guys, Mr. Simon. I don't blame you, because I'm in your shoes too. I have to have some people too. I don't like it either. I don't like a lot of things that I see going on. I also know I can't do nothing about it. See? I just want to say one more quick thing, guys. The one thing that saved me was, I had a smart wife. You see, I was running the wrong church, making thought I was making a lot of money. My wife used to be my watchdog. She told me, when you're going to stay in business, you got to cut the trip short. You got to get more money, cut the trip short, and keep the money. That's what I do. A lot of people say, like, I don't ever see that, I don't move out your life. They move, you just don't see it. I know I'm not just like that. You got to improvise a way to beat the system. And what we're doing today is what I feel. So, I get out there when I talk, I got to pay $900 for a car. You think I like that? Well, it must be some kind of thing. That's the way it goes, man.
Thanks, Mr. Harper.
Yes.
Motion to close public comment?
Move. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Dates to remember. Next Township Committee meeting will be May 7th at 7 p.m. Land Development Board meeting will be May 1st at 7 p.m. Historic Commission is April 24th at 7 p.m. Recreation Committee meeting is May 8th at 7 p.m. And Take Your Child to Work Day is April 25th. Do we have any committee liaison reports or comments?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I'd just like to thank all of our neighbors and residents for coming out today and voicing their opinions and concerns. Reasonably, it makes sense. I understand. I think I'd just like to mention, I think the mayor did a great job in his discussion with Committee Women Berkeley about highlighting the holistic approach that we have to take to the budgeting process and the forward-looking solutions that we have to implement and explore, to balance all these concerns and coming items. For example, we know we're getting $400,000 in revenues next year, but we also know that we're up for bid for the trash trucks. We know we need more manpower for public works, so we need this leaf truck as a force multiplier. All these things is a balancing act, and we're trying our best. I really appreciate everyone's concerns. That's all I have, sir.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I agree. I'm glad to see lots of people coming out. We agree and disagree on things, and that's fine because each person has their own opinion. There was 3 Board of Education members here tonight, and I would like to give kudos to the board. They had a lot of money they had to cut. They really were. They were in a real bind. They got together, they worked together as a committee, and they did it. Like I said, their budget's going up 2%, and their tax increase is less than a penny. And so that certainly makes it easier for us, but I want to give them kudos. Unfortunately, I'm disappointed in my fellow committee women and men. Obviously, there were things in the budget, in the minutes that were not true about me, who painted a negative picture of me. I did not want people fired, and I did not do bad, and I do not do bad on my math, and you would not support me. And I'm very embarrassed and disappointed in you. Thank you.
I'd also like to thank the residents for coming out and voicing your concerns and, bringing them to us. As residents ourselves, we have similar concerns. I know that I have probably emptied out my house and had so much trash on that curb, more than the bulk pickup, and they were still picking it up. So that was definitely a concern I had asked myself. But I want to thank you for coming out, and I also just wanted to publicly thank Maisha Hill for her courageous efforts in working with the police.
I'd like to thank everyone for coming out. I think that's always been, factual, especially with me and the rest of this committee. These are people who genuinely do care about the community. Now, we may all not disagree, but that's not why, you have people who are elected up here, so that we don't all have to disagree as long as we all care about, the town, and we're trying to do the best we can. What I will say lastly is when I talked about our shared service, and I talked about our part-time CFO, and I talked about those different things, these aren't things that we worked on from last year to this year. These are things we've been working on for 3 or 4 years because we've seen that there was no way we're going to be able to sustain without an increase. So that was our answer to the issue the whole time. And I've seen people, I've seen people online say, well, I want to have a full-time person there. I want to have a full-time person do this, or and those things I respect. But by doing what we did and being responsible, we gave ourselves an opportunity to look forward to the $400,000 that we're going to get from the community that was built there. That, hey, let's be frank, most people didn't even want built. So where would we be without that, right? And to be honest, when if we're talking about cutting 5%, you're talking about we increased by 500 homes? This is no time to go backwards. This is a time to go forward. So we've done a lot of those things. In my tenure here, we've had 2 different police chiefs, right? We have a fire truck that we bought. Listen, you guys don't even take account that you're going to need a new firehouse. That we met with Craig and listen, to throw numbers out if I can, they want $17 million. And guess what? What did we talk about, Craig? Craig said, I like the one in Lumberton that was 8. I said, you know what you do? Call them back and tell them we want what Lumberton got. Right? So we're always trying to find ways to cut money. We're not spending frivolously, but listen, Craig's going to have a meeting. And I would love for us all to go to the firehouse, because when I was there was puddles of water in different rooms, and there were, water running down his wall while we were talking because it was a rainy day. These are the work conditions you're asking the people to work here in, right? And that's not fair. It's not fair to them, because I know when I go to work and my computer comes on and, you know what I mean, and whatever I'm doing, I don't have any water running down the wall or anything like that. So these are just some of the things that we try to do responsibly. And we have to go forward. We can't go backwards. And, I'm willing to pay the $120 or $150 a month. Believe me, I don't want to. But there's not a lot of opportunities around it. And, so I think that this committee and this administration has done a nice job. Wendy's doing the budget. When you go to different townships, ask how many administrators are doing the budget. Not many. Not the municipal budget. So, she's been doing that for the last couple of years, right? So these are just different things that we tried to do to be better. And to agree with what Jamie said, I recently had my basement flooded. You know how much of the problem that would have been with one trash can? I'm not disagreeing. I'm saying that, but on the same hand, 3 years ago, was it 3 years ago? We had a room full of people complaining that we're paying $3.7 million for trash collection, and they didn't like the company that we were choosing. What are we supposed to do? All we want is more options. And sometimes, we may have to sacrifice as a community to get more options. I know we don't want to sacrifice anything, but I'd rather sacrifice that than sacrifice manpower. So with that being said, executive session, resolution number 4/16/2024, resolution authorizing the Township Committee and support staff to meet in private session and authorize the exclusion of the public from the portion of the meeting dealing with specific issues requiring non-public discussion, attorney-client privilege, personnel. Do we have a motion?
Berkeley move.
Second.
Any discussion?
Nope.
Roll call.
Berkeley?
Yes.
Carr?
Yes.
Mungo?
Yes.
Wright?
Yes.
Mayor Henley?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.